Princess Leonor and Prince Christian, private dinner after royal announcement leaked. Madrid. Late evening. The air still hums with tension after the royal announcement that took the world by surprise, the engagement of Princess Leonor of Spain and Prince Christian of Denmark. Cameras had been flashing all day, royal analysts were buzzing, and social media had exploded with speculation. Everyone thought the night was over. But then, something unexpected happened. While the world celebrated from afar, a private dinner unfolded behind closed palace doors, a dinner that no one was supposed to know about. Until now. For the first time since the announcement, Princess Leonor and Prince Christian sat down, not as heirs, not as symbols of two powerful monarchies, but as two young hearts who had just stepped into the spotlight of history. What was meant to be a quiet moment of peace, became the center of whispers, intrigue, and a new royal mystery. Because according to sources close to the palace, this dinner, quiet, candlelit, and away from cameras, revealed more about the royal couple's true relationship than any official statement ever could. So what really happened that night? Why did it have to stay secret? And what does this moment mean for the future of both royal families? Let's begin with what we know. That evening, after the announcement from Zarzuela Palace confirming the royal engagement, Leonor requested time alone, not with her family, not with her advisors, but with Christian. Palace staff described the request as unusual but firm. She wanted one evening where protocol would not dictate their every word. Hours later, as twilight settled over Madrid, a sleek black car left the palace through a private gate. Inside were just two people, the future Queen of Spain and the future King of Denmark. Their destination, an undisclosed private residence owned by a close family friend of Queen Letizia. It was there, far from the glare of the press, that they shared their first meal together after the announcement. What did they talk about? According to those who were near the venue, it wasn't politics or duty, it was love, fear, and the weight of expectations. Leonor reportedly told Christian, for the first time, it feels real. Not just a headline, not just a story, us. Imagine that moment. The young couple, just 19 and 20 years old, suddenly carrying the hopes of two monarchies, Spain and Denmark, both steeped in centuries of tradition. And yet, as witnesses claim, the atmosphere was not one of stiffness, but of quiet joy. The table was simple. Soft candles, traditional Spanish dishes, and a single bouquet of white roses, Christian's gift to her. But the serenity didn't last long. Barely 2 hours into the dinner, a message reached the royal aides. Someone had leaked details of the private meeting to the media. Within minutes, the words, Leonor and Christian private dinner, began circulating online. The palace was caught off guard. What was meant to be a moment of calm had turned into a potential diplomatic headache. Still, Leonor refused to leave. They've already taken our privacy, she reportedly said, but they won't take this moment. Christian agreed, and the two continued their evening as planned. What makes this night even more fascinating is what came after. The leaked photos, slightly blurred, clearly taken from a distance, show them laughing, their hands almost touching across the table. Not royal gestures, but human ones. For many Spaniards and Danes, it was the first time they saw the couple as more than future rulers. They looked in love. But the dinner also raised deeper questions. Why was it necessary to hide? Why didn't the palace include this in the official announcement? Schedule. According to insiders, this was Leonor's way of taking control of her own narrative. For years, she's lived under constant supervision, every gesture, every smile analyzed. But that night, she made a choice not as a royal, but as a woman in love. And that decision didn't sit well with everyone. Reports suggest that while Queen Letizia understood her daughter's need for privacy, King Felipe was more cautious. His words were said to be firm but loving. Leonor, you carry Spain's crown now, and Spain watches even when you think it doesn't. Those words hung heavy over the next days, as international media debated whether the dinner was an act of rebellion or romance. But something else happened behind the scenes, something that reshaped how both royal families viewed this union. Sources claim that following the dinner, Queen Margrethe of Denmark personally called King Felipe. The conversation, though private, reportedly ended with mutual understanding. Both families agreed that Leonor and Christian would be allowed to handle parts of their engagement in their own way, a more modern royal approach. From that moment, a quiet transformation began. Leonor, once known for her discipline and reserve, started showing a more open side in public. Christian, long described as calm and diplomatic, became visibly more protective and attentive around her. Their chemistry, once carefully hidden, was now impossible to ignore. But even with the fairy tale unfolding before the cameras, the shadow of that dinner still lingers. Some say it was the night they sealed their emotional bond, others whisper it was the night they defied royal protocol for the first time. Either way, it marked a turning point. Because that private dinner wasn't just about romance. It was a declaration, silent but powerful, that this generation of royals would not let duty erase humanity. It was the night when two young heirs reminded the world that even under crowns and titles, the heart still beats the loudest. And perhaps that's why the story continues to captivate millions. Not because of the grandeur, or the titles, or the gold-lined invitations. But because, beneath it all, it's a love story, fragile, brave, and real. As the world waits for the grand royal wedding in 2025, one thing is clear, the fairy tale began long before the Isle. It began on a quiet night in Madrid, two young royals, one private dinner, and a promise whispered in candlelight that no leak, no protocol, no tradition could ever silence. Because sometimes, the most historic royal moments aren't announced. They're felt. And that night, the world felt it.